Welcome to the Inside Syracuse Basketball podcast. I'm Mike Waters. Today on the podcast, I'm joined by Syracuse basketball great Billy Owens. Owens is one of the greatest players in Syracuse history. Despite spending just 3 years at Syracuse, he's still the only player in school history who ranks in the top 13 for career points, rebounds, steals, and assists. I talked with Billy about his brother's influence on his commitment to SU, having his son on this year's team, and the time he and Derrick Coleman tossed Jim Boeheim into the high jump pit. Today, I'm joined by former Syracuse University great Billy Owens. Billy, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Hanging in there. Hanging in there.
That's great. You know, you and I go back a long ways. My first year on the beat was your freshman year.
Wow.
Can you believe it?
Yeah, time flies. Time waits for nobody. Yeah.
Before we get to your years at Syracuse, I've talked with you a little bit in the past about your recruitment, because you were the number one player in the country coming out of Carlisle, Pennsylvania. And as I recall, your final three schools were North Carolina, Villanova, and Syracuse.
Right.
How seriously did you consider those other two, and what led you to pick Syracuse?
I consider those schools a lot. North Carolina was probably my top school until my brother decided to go to Syracuse. If my brother didn't go to Syracuse, I don't know. I think I would have been a Tar Heel, but he went to Syracuse, and I just said that I had love for Dean Smith. I had love for Rolly Massimino down in Villanova. They was just great guys. When I first met them, when they came to visit, they just, they was impressive, and I liked those guys. And then when Coach Boeheim came, it was the same situation. It's like I was torn between three schools, but I think my brother going there for football, I decided that I would go. And plus my mom wanted us together, so I decided to go to Syracuse.
So Syracuse fans can all thank the late Dick McPherson.
Yeah, definitely. Well, actually, Randy Exel was the one that recruited my brother.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. I saw him a lot, just coming in and watching my brother's game. So he really recruited him, and so you might want to thank Randy too.
Now, you had a connection to North Carolina. Your high school teammate Jeff Lebo.
Yeah.
He went to North Carolina like a year, maybe 2 years ahead of you?
Yeah, when I was a freshman, he was a senior.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and Dean Smith used to come watch him play a lot, and I guess he took notice of a skinny freshman kid out there, playing hard on defense, because I really didn't take that many shots my freshman year. I was just trying to fit in. But when Dean Smith was watching him, he had a good eye, and he kept watching me, and then he really wanted me real bad. That's what Larry Brown told me a story that Dean Smith told him that I was the best high school player he ever saw at that time.
Wow.
Yeah, so,
And he's already recruited guys like James Worthy and Michael Jordan.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Michael Jordan used to call my phone when I was in 9th grade, 10th grade, just to talk to me about North Carolina.
What would he say?
They just, that is a great program. Why would you want to go anywhere else? Mike back then was Mike, cocky. And, why would you want to go to Syracuse? Why would you want to go to Villanova? North Carolina is where it's at, that type of stuff. I didn't talk to him that long anyway, because I just, at that time I was young, so I just gave the phone to my dad. Let him talk. I kind of brushed him off, because actually he called me the day it was sunny out, and they was playing at the park. They was playing pickup. And when I was walking home from school, I saw that the older guys were playing pickup. So I ran home to change, and my dad said Michael Jordan's on the phone. I was like, Michael who? And he said, Michael Jordan. I talked to him a little bit, and I said, well, here, talk to my dad, because I'm going to play ball.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, you couldn't have found three coaches that were more different in terms of their personalities. Rolly, Dean, and Jim Boeheim?
I got a great story. When Rolly came to visit me at the house, he had his championship ring on, because they just beat Georgetown. And, I don't know if it was that year, but they beat Georgetown. He had his ring on. I guess he wanted to show it off to me. So he told a story, like a funny story, and he laughed, and he was sitting right next to me. and he had that ring on. So when he laughed, he hit me on my knee with that ring. And I was over there trying to hold my tears back because it hurt. So he hit me with that ring. I was like, oh, man, it's hurting over here while I was sitting next to him. So, but like I said, I loved all three of those coaches, and I don't think I would have went wrong. But I'm glad I picked Syracuse because Coach Boeheim is my man. Coach Boeheim told me that he'd get me into the NBA and I can play my game. He wants me to handle the ball more. Because I ain't handle the ball that much in high school. But Boeheim told me that, it'd be great to play alongside Derrick Coleman, Sherman Douglas, Stevie Thompson. And then I saw him play, and I said, yeah, this could be a great fit.
As a freshman coming to Syracuse, what was it like to join a team with such established stars and I might also add some pretty strong personalities like Derrick and Stevie and Sherman?
It wasn't hard because I could adapt to the game. I can get my own points if I needed to. I can rebound the basketball. I can grab a rebound and push up the court myself. So I had to try to fit my way. I didn't want to step on nobody's toes. Or Boeheim was kept on telling me to, be more aggressive. You should have shot that shot, and I need you to score, that type of thing. So I started opening up a little bit later on, like in the year, but I was just trying to fit in. Like you said, we had great players, Derrick Coleman. And Derrick was so unselfish. He could have took more shots. Stevie Thompson was the one you had to watch out for because he wanted all the shots. He wanted all the dunks. He wanted all the alley-oops. He wanted all the layups. So he's the only one you probably had a battle for points.
Now, you got to have a couple good Derrick stories, right?
Yeah, but, as long as it's on HBO, I can tell you some good ones. I can tell you. It's just Derrick was so competitive and so strong as a black man. He's one of a kind. I never met nobody like Derrick. He's a great guy. He gives you the shirt off his back if I wanted it. He was just a big brother to me, and I can tell you a story that me and Derrick, it includes Boeheim. Me and Derrick was getting some shots in after practice, and Boeheim was walking out the gym while we was in Manly. And he was walking out, and he started trash talking me and Derrick while he was walking. So I looked at Derrick, and Derrick looked at me. I said, let's get him. So we ran over there, chased him, grabbed him. Derrick had him by his shoulders. I had him by his legs. And in Manly they had track and field, so they had that high jump mat. So we took him to the high jump mat, and we swung him in the air. We said 1, 2, 3, we threw him in the air. He hit the mat, and he fell off the mat. Glasses went one way. He got up, grabbed his back, and he called it. He said, "Y'all some crazy sons of," and that was it. And he gathered his glasses and walked out. See, people aren't gonna believe that story because they wouldn't believe that, because Boeheim comes across as that screaming guy all the time and getting on his players, but we weren't going for it, so we got him that day.
Oh my God, I've never heard that story before, ever. And I remember that high jump, the big cushiony mat.
Yeah, the cushion, yeah.
I used to sit there and watch practices from that mat sometimes.
Yeah, Manly was a great place to practice, but they got a nice facility now.
Yeah, they do. There was another guy on that team your freshman year. He came in with your recruiting class, a kid by the name of Mike Hopkins.
Oh, yeah, Mike.
What did you think of Mike Hopkins first time you saw him?
Coach.
Really?
He's coach. You can just, he studied the game. He was always into the game. He was always positive. He was always in your ear telling you, you could do this. He can't hold you, that type of thing. And he was that nervous type of player to me. Like, he didn't want to mess up. He didn't want to be on Boeheim's bad side. So everything had to be fundamentally sound with him and everything. It might be shooting foul shots 3 to 4 hours after practice, just shooting foul shots. Sometimes I said he was just scared to come in the locker room because Derrick used to terrorize all the rookies and he used to treat the rookies wrong. So I think he stayed out there until we left to come in the locker room. But when I first met Hop, he was like a positive guy, and I could see that he, his path was going to be coaching.
Not necessarily playing.
No, well, he could play. He could play. Mike was a defender. You know, he'd do what you asked him to do as a coach. But you know, you have to play if you got recruited by Syracuse at that time.
I like to make fun of Mike.
Yeah.
And his nickname is the Human Bruise.
Oh yeah,
he was well earned.
But Mike used to have little scabs like on his knees from brush burns, and he'll pick them to pop them open so his leg could bleed. Mike was crazy. Mike was crazy guy, crazy coach. He come up. I said, why would you come all the way and go to school in Syracuse and you come from California? You must don't like the warm weather. Him and Stevie Thompson both. I used to tell Stevie Thompson to eat the yellow snow. It's good for you. And you know, yellow snow, it could be pee. Because he never saw. He act like he never saw snow before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you know, that team, your freshman year, was loaded. You know, we've mentioned all the guys that were on it. You know, Matt Rowe was the fifth starter that we haven't mentioned. But you guys lost to Illinois in the Midwest Regional Final in what I still consider was one of the greatest matchups I've ever seen, because Illinois was loaded too. But you know, what do you remember about that game? And you know, I'm sure it's one that still hurts.
It hurts, but I thought we was going to win it. I think at halftime we was up by, like, I might want to say 10, 11 points or something like that. Then you know they was going to come back. And, you know, every team makes their run, so you know they was going to come back. They was, like you said, they was loaded. So, but I just thought we was going to win that game. You know, I think the game before that we played Missouri, and we beat Doug Smith and them. So it was like, you know, I'm going to the Final Four. And plus, I was used to winning championships. You know, coming from Carlisle, Pennsylvania, I won 4 in a row. So I'm like, this is this norm. I'm going to win. You know, God's going to let me win this championship. God's going to let me go to the Final Four. But they came out and put it on us. They just put it on us. Kendall, Gill, Battle. They just came out, and I guess they wanted it more than we did. But it was a good matchup. I don't mind talking about that game. I just don't like talking about the Richmond Spiders.
They're further down the list, but I was planning on getting there. Let's mix in some good memories. How about it?
Right.
You know, one game that stands out is your sophomore year. I think it was the last home game of the season against Georgetown. And that's the game where John Thompson got the 3 technical fouls and gets kicked out. I mean, what were you thinking at the time?
That John Thompson's crazy. You know, I just started screaming and screaming. Then he came on the court, and I think Derrick took like 6 foul shots, and then I don't know, I forget I think Jefferson fouled me with no seconds left, but 1 second left on the clock. I don't know why, you know, from backcourt, and fortunately, I made the foul shots and taking it in overtime. We ended up winning in overtime. But, you know, playing Georgetown, you always got up. You know, the whole campus was buzzing when we played Georgetown. Professors let you go home early, get out of here. I walked into a class, professor said, why are you here? Don't you play Georgetown this week? I said, yeah. He said, well, go home and rest. So the university was buzzing with Georgetown. I don't know why they hate Georgetown so much, because actually I really didn't lose to Georgetown that much. I think I lost them more my freshman year than ever, any other year. So, and Alonzo Mourning was my boy. We was cool. We played in a lot of goodwill games together, summer league games together. So we was cool, and we used to talk before the game and stuff like that. But a lot of fans up in the Q's land don't like Georgetown. But like I said, this playing Georgetown was a great rivalry, and you always got up to play against them.
You know, you mentioned Alonzo. You were famously on the cover of Sports Illustrated before you played your first game at SU. Mm-hmm. Zoe was supposed to be on the cover with you. Did you know that?
Yeah, I knew that. Zoe was mad too about it, but John Thompson won't let him get on there. I don't know why. He should have been on there, because Alonzo was a great high school player too. And you know, it's like we shared everything. The McDonald's All-American game, we shared co-MVPs, which if I didn't pass him the ball, he wouldn't have got co-MVP because Chris Jackson, who changed his name to Mahmoud later, he wasn't passing the ball. So Bobby Hurley Sr. was our coach. So he moved me to point guard and told me just to move the ball around so everybody can touch it. So that's what I did. So I started feeding Alonzo into the post, and he started getting his numbers.
Wow, that's amazing.
I shouldn't have passed it, so I would have got MVP by myself.
You mentioned the Richmond Spiders earlier.
Yeah.
That was your junior year, and you guys had lost Derrick and Stevie off the previous year's team. And I remember, I was one of them. The media, we didn't really know what to make of you guys going into that season. You had lost so much, and you guys wound up having a great year.
Yeah.
Was that year a surprise to you? I think you were like 26-6.
Yeah, I talked to Coach Autry about that. We always talk about that year, and he said it was to me it was one of one of my best years. And when we was winning, I think we won the Big East outright, conference outright, or something like that, the league outright. So, to go in there and like you said, we lost Derrick, we lost Stevie. A lot of people probably wiped us out, thought we was going to be, an average team. But, when the ball, I got more involved, like the ball was always good. The ball had to touch my hands before anybody touched it on offense. So I think our chemistry was just a little better because everybody knew their roles. And Agent Archie was a point guard. Mike Edwards helped out a little bit. So, and David Johnson was finding his own way, So I think that chemistry was good with that team. But that first game, I think we just overlooked the Spiders and thought we just going to win that game easily so we can move on. And, they came with the Richmond Spiders came with their shoelaces tied too and ready to play, and they beat us. And that's one of the worst. I never watched that game fully. I can't watch that game. It was just one of those, like my soul just left my body. And my soul left my body, and I can't believe we really lost. And when I got home, I had a lot of football players that were friends, and my brother was a football player, and all they did was heckle me the whole time until I left Syracuse about how the hell we let Richmond Spiders beat us. But they came out and played, and they beat us. They was a better team that day, and if we had played the next day, I think we had beat them by 20.
I've always wanted to ask you this. It was probably too raw at the time, but the program was in the middle of an NCAA investigation right then. And right. I think you guys were even questioned by the NCAA in the week leading up to the game. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but yeah. Did that have, what kind of effect did that have on you and your teammates heading into the tournament?
I don't think it had an effect on us because we was ball players. The court was a safe haven for us. So we can play, get on that court. Everything else should go out the window, and we should just play basketball. Me personally, it didn't bother me because they was before they was asking me questions about Derrick, about him and him supposed to be sending me this, sending me that. It didn't bother me. It was just, it's with the territory. My dad kept me a level head. Coach Boeheim just told me to don't forget about it. Just worry about school and worry about playing basketball, and that's what I did. I don't think that's an excuse that I would say that Richmond beat us or anything like that.
Okay.
It's just at the time it was something that was going on, and Coach Boeheim told us as a team, don't worry about it. Just focus on, like I said, schoolwork and playing basketball, and it would take care of itself, and it did.
When y'all lost that game to Richmond, how soon after did you realize it was your last game at Syracuse, that you were going to leave early?
It took a while. When my first loss, that's the thing was going ahead. I'm out of here. I got to get out of here. I think I was just mad because we lost against Richmond. We lost that game, but it took me a while. Sitting down with my dad, sitting down with the experts in the NBA telling me that it could be 1, 2, or 3, give me a scenario, well, if you stay next year, Shaq's coming out, Lonzo's coming out. You're going to fall in the same type of 1, 2, or 3 again. Maybe, no, 2 or 3 because Shaq was going to go number 1 regardless. So it's going to be 2 or 3. So I just decided, I talked to Boeheim about it. And, he was honest. He was said, we'd love to have you stay. That. Shoot. And then, but, you really got to sit down with your family and think about it because it don't get no better than this. You're in a great position to live out your dream. And I decided to come out my junior year. And I don't regret it. The only thing I really regret is just the fans and how fun it was. My 3 years at Syracuse was so fun. And that's one thing, if I could do it over again, I would probably take that more to consideration of how fun it was at Syracuse and how the fans love me and I love the fans. That might make me change my mind and go back. But I don't regret it leaving. And, I had a good NBA career. And like I said, it was a great time. But I thought about it a little bit. Like I said, I was mad after we lost against Richmond. I was mad. I said, I'm out of here. I told the coaches that. They couldn't talk to me. They was telling me just calm down and it'll be all right. I was like, no, I'm out of here. I kind of blamed the team more than I blamed myself at the time. But it's a team sport, and we lost as a team.
Not to age either one of us, but you now have a son at Syracuse University. He's on the basketball team, Chaz, as a freshman.
Yeah.
What's it feel like, or what's it mean to you to have your son, playing for your alma mater?
It means a lot. It means a lot, and plus it means a lot. It means a lot that Coach Boeheim is still there, so he gets to teach him. And I told him all the stories growing up with Coach Boeheim and how Syracuse and the student life and how fun it was and everything. So for him to go to Syracuse to follow my footsteps, it's a blessing. And I think the university and Coach Boeheim every day that they gave him a scholarship. Chaz had it rough, from high school ball. Nobody really believed in his game. I don't know why. And I know he can play. And Coach Boeheim said he can play because one thing Coach Boeheim is honest. If he can't play, he can't play. If Coach Boeheim would tell me that. But he said he got something there. It's just that he sees raw. And it's all new to him. Like this is all new to him. A program like that is every kid's dream, and he's living his dream. And I thank God that, that he went through what he had to go through. Now he realized how serious this is. And as parents, as me and his mom and his sisters, we're just proud of him, and we hope for the best for him. But I'm happy. I call him every day, and he tells me, quit calling me. He tells me, Dad, we did the same thing we did yesterday. Quit asking me what happened in practice. So I think I'm getting on his nerves a little bit, but I backed off, and he's in good hands up there.
He's actually the second one of your children to go to SU, right? Yeah.
My daughter, Billy LeRae, she was up there. She actually worked for Coach Boeheim. Coach Boeheim, I think Billy LeRae is Coach Boeheim's favorite.
Oh, really?
I went down there to watch the Clemson game. We was in the booth, and Coach Boeheim, I ain't seen him yet. I ain't seen him, since I've been in Syracuse. So he walks in the booth, and I see him, and I go up to him, but Billy LeRae's in the booth with us, my daughter. He walks right by me and goes talks to her. I'm I'm the one that played for you. So I was like, Billy and Coach still keep in touch. They text each other, and Billy always said, don't let Chazzy take over. Who's your favorite Owens? And he said, never. So, but her going there, and she loved it. She has stories too. I think it was no-brainer that that's why Chazzy fell in love with Syracuse. His uncle Mike went to Syracuse. His uncle Herman O'Reed went to Syracuse. So his mom went to Syracuse, and he since he was 10, 11 years old, he was talking about Syracuse this, Syracuse that. He was a Syracuse fan. So it's a blessing.
I love hearing you refer to Herman O'Reed as Uncle Herman.
Yeah, that's my man. He took me on his. Him and Derrick took me on his wing, and They show me the ropes. They show me some good things to do, and they show me some bad things to do. So, but I love those guys. And me and Herman and Herman's family and my family are just close. We get together during the holidays, and I always go visit him down in Baltimore because it's only like an hour and 40-minute drive for me. And I support his program there in Lake Clifton and everything. So he's like an older brother.
That's awesome. Now, before I let you go, what are you doing these days to keep yourself busy?
Well, I was coaching for the last 10 years, and then the head coach got fired, so I decided not to go back, even though they wanted me to come back.
Where was this?
At Rutgers Camden.
Okay.
So Rutgers Camden, Division III school. I was there for 10 years and as an assistant coach. And when they fired the head coach, like I said, they wanted me to come back, but I decided that I would follow my son around, Chaz, watch him play some games. So that's basically what I was doing. Sticking something to do with sports, working with the kids. You know, I venture out trying to do a little business deal when it comes to hospitality and multifamily home real estate, stuff like that. But nothing gets me up in the morning more than just being around kids and teaching them the game of basketball or teaching them the game of life.
That sounds great. The kids at Rutgers Camden are losing out that you're not around them anymore. But
yeah, but it's a whole different level when you come to Division III. You know, the kids are like, every time they found out who I was, and they was all the kids like, can you get me into Syracuse? Can you get me this? I said, first of all, can we win games here first? Because we had a terrible record. Can we win games here first, and then maybe I can call somebody up at Syracuse just to get them motivated to play harder or something. But it's a whole different level, and when the kids, you know, see that level, like Chaz, he saw like for the first time, or took him to a college game. He's like, man, the speed is so much different. And I said, yeah, and they're stronger too. So you got to continue to work on your game if you want to play. You want to play in that level.
You know, last question for you, and I'm tying you and Chaz together here. When he committed to Syracuse, I found a photo in our archives of when you were getting your jersey retired, the number 30.
Yeah.
And there's a photo of you looking up at the rafters and a whole bunch of families there, and there's this little dude next to you.
Yeah, but down by my knees.
Yeah, and now he's a freshman at Syracuse. It's Chaz, and I had to look at that picture a long time before I figured out who it was. Yeah. You know, what was that ceremony like for you? And you know, I've talked with, you know, some of your other teammates like John Wallace who have had their jerseys retired. Mm-hmm. Well, it's always interesting to see what that means for guys.
It was first of all, I said about time. I said about time. So, but it was like I said, it was a blessing. It was one of the exciting days of my life. You know, to get my numbers up in the rafters, and it just brought back all the memories, like on the basketball court, like walking out there. I started having my palms are sweating, and I'm not a media guy. I really don't like talking to media, and not because, you know, I'm an asshole or anything like that. I was just that shy guy. I didn't want cameras in my face. I just wanted to play basketball, go to school, and have fun doing that. So, but to get my jersey retired, my name retired, it was special, and you know, it was hard for me to, you know, to fight back tears and everything like that. But it was a special day, and to have all my family out there on the court with me, and my brother Michael with me, who ran around on that field too, on the turf football. It was just a special day.
That's really cool. Well, Billy, your presence here today has made this a special podcast. I appreciate it.
No problem.
It's always good to reconnect.
You know, anything. I'd do anything for you, Mike.
Well, I appreciate that. We'll call it square with the podcast visit. Thank you, buddy.
Definitely. All right, man.
All right. We'll hope to see you real soon.
Okay, definitely. Be safe.